Hello everyone, welcome back to the late afternoon Glass Off podcast. My name is Zach, and joining me as always, Finley James. How are we, mate?
Good afternoon, Zachary. I'm going well, mate. Good little day of waves today. Very enjoyable surf at a local beach break with some very talented surfers, mind you.
You might as well name it and expose it because everyone has been there.
And I will say, I've lived here a long time. I've never had to park on the opposite side of the road for this break to actually get a car park. It was pretty crazy.
We're talking about Boulders Beach.
Boulders.
If anyone's trying to pick up what we're putting down.
Boulders Beach break. Very, very fun little bank there at the moment. A complete lack of sand across all the other breaks we have around here. Lennox Point, gutted.
North Wall looks like a crime scene that is beyond repair.
It does. It looks like some crazy stuff's gone down there. It's pretty brown water. Some animals that you probably don't want to mix with getting around as well.
There is a water tank still on the beach at Shelley Beach. I'm not sure if the council's just doing that like, oh yeah, we'll get to that, but it's a bit of an eyesore to say the least.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely the effects of Cyclone Alfred lingering. And I think they're going to linger for a while.
Yeah, like this water tends to hang around for a bit, especially when you continue getting rain like we've had. I'm fortunately escaping this place for a week, so hopefully when I get back, it'll be nice blue water and good waves again. I'm going to Vanuatu with my girlfriend, Maya, and my cousins, Joe and Kaylee, so we're going to go over there. I'm going to get Joe, who is a rugby union prop. I'm going to get him out on some reef breaks and try and get him into some of the best ways of his life, which, sorry, Joe, it's not going to be that difficult, I don't think. You haven't really had too much exposure to good waves.
He's from the UK,
He's
right?
from England, so not a known place for waves, although they do get good waves. We're going to get him into some reef breaks, which I don't think he's surfed before, so that'll be fun.
Have you got SPF like 100 for those UK lads? They burn pretty quickly.
I probably burn worse than they do. So
well, you are a little bit British, aren't you?
I'm 100% British.
There
actually.
you go.
For both parents. I've moved here when I was 5, but lived here ever since. But the complexion, I've tried my best, but it's not getting any better. So I'm going over there. What have you been up to? You've been busy getting your jet ski license, which
yes,
maybe ignore to all the listeners. Talked previously of Zach driving jet skis. That didn't happen, did it?
No, not at all.
No,
they're not coming after me. But I had the thought where I was like, I need to get my jet ski license. It's been something that I've been putting on my New Year's resolution for the last decade, I would say.
Yeah.
Really glad I did do it. I actually did the course. You can cheat the system and you can go in and wing your knowledge test.
Right.
20 questions or 50 questions it is.
Yeah.
And you can actually get someone to cheat a logbook for you.
Right.
This was recommended for me. I said to my friend, what is the process? And he said, mate, you know what fishermen are like? Yeah, mate, go down here and do it. And that was the process. Mm-hmm. Another process is you can go to a half-day course.
Yep.
And that's the one I chose to do.
Look
no
at
need
you
for a logbook.
Doing the right thing. Look at that.
And I'm really glad I did because it turns out I've been breaking many, many laws. And to be honest, I feel like everyone is breaking some sort of laws after that course. I was raising my hand going, so we need that? They're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, we've been doing that for sure. And the whole time in the course, I was just thinking about that last Kira swell and how fucking illegal that is. Obviously, each state is different, although very, very illegal what happens at Kira.
Is there any that stood out to you?
Well, yeah, if you're towing a jet ski, a surfer and a jet ski, you are not allowed to be 200 meters from another vessel or an individual swimming. That's the whole fucking point.
Yeah.
So you, in theory, you can have one jet ski at Kira legally.
Yeah.
Some more things that I found out, and the reason why I actually did go do it was I did not know that if I am driving a jet ski and it's your jet ski, you're in Vanuatu having a great time. If I get fined, so do you.
So we both get fined.
Equal fine. The registered owner gets the same fine because you have allowed an unlicensed rider to ride your ski.
True.
So that's when I was like, oh, fuck, I feel a bit bad for all the boys that let me drive. I'd be pretty upset at myself for being lazy and whatnot. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing. But there was a few more, and I wanted to bring this up on the pod because in New South Wales, the criteria for tow surfing is pretty bizarre. And jet skis alone in New South Wales is a rort, I'll call it.
Right.
First of all, you need a sled. You must have a sled to tow surf.
To tow?
Correct.
Really?
Correct. I was like, as soon as they started with that, I was like, fuck, I can only imagine where this is going.
Jesus.
Sleds are not cheap. I think for the inflatable ones, which most people are going down the path of now, are like $900 to $1,500.
Jesus.
So yeah, you've had to buy a jet ski. That is fucking expensive. Now you got to get a sled. You need a 7 meter is the minimum tow rope length.
Right.
And it must be inflatable rope. Can't just be like
cord.
rope.
Yeah, yep. Right.
You need, this one was like, I was like, what? You need to have a knife and dive fins.
On you?
Yes.
Really?
Not a requirement if you're in enclosed waters such as rivers and streams and lakes.
Right.
And I was thinking maybe for the tow rope to dive down and cut the tow rope out of the intake.
That makes sense.
One, you wouldn't need flippers.
The flippers seems a bit extreme.
It's very extreme. And two, wouldn't that be a requirement for in enclosed waters as well, because they tow like tubes and things around? So I was like, I said to the people there, and they were lovely, what is the purpose of that? I'm not really sure. You need two-way communication.
What do you mean?
So
like a radio?
Radio. That's if you want to go out at sea, which you will be if you're towing surfing.
I'm not a big jet ski guy. What percentage of people do you think have two-way radios on their skis?
I would say less than 5%.
Right. Okay.
I would say less than 1% for flippers and a knife.
Less than one?
I would say a knife, yes, to cut the intake out, but flippers, definitely fucking not.
I've never heard of that being needed, to be fair.
You need a torch, but that's across all, that's in a boat and jet ski alone. That's just something that's recommended anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, so there was a long list, and I was like, wow, I did not know all that. So it turns out I'm actually very thankful that I did do the course. So yeah, that's my jet ski rant over. Everyone out there on the next swell, just make sure you've got your flippers on at all times and stay fucking 200 meters away from someone else and you should be fine.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure everyone's going to listen to you there. Sweet. After that riveting jet ski ramble from Zach, we'll move into some...
If anyone's asleep, I apologise.
Your Instagram algorithm, how's that been looking?
It looks the same as most men's Instagram algorithm.
And what's that in reference to?
There's just straight up light, soft porn all over Instagram. And we were just speaking about this off camera. You're probably going, yeah, you're a fucking dirty little whatever, so-and-so.
The algorithm serves you what you want to look at. So you can't blame anyone else but yourself for this, but continue.
Obviously, okay, you're scrolling away. You're doom scrolling on the dunny.
Yeah.
You've on there for at least 15, 20 minutes. And you're scrolling. And if you see, you're going to stop. It's like literally biology. You're going to stop. Mm-hmm. You have no intention to do anything out of this. There's no like, oh, I'm going to follow her. I'm going to do anything. Like, let's just be real. You're just going to keep scrolling. Yep. Instagram tracks that you stop scrolling for 1 millisecond. So then when you put your phone down and you wipe your ass, you flush your toilet, 20 minutes later, you go back on Instagram, boom, fucking porn just everywhere. And I'm sick of it because it makes me look creepy.
And when you say it's not porn, is it?
I'd call it light porn.
It's just chicks in bikinis a lot of the time, which in terms of engagement, it's clearly works for them. So all credit to them.
I was sucked into them by the time they're 40 and they got to explain that to the kids. But anyway.
Right.
What have you been up to? Sorry, I fucking went on a full rant there.
My algorithm is pretty weird. I get some there's a phrase that's been coined recently, which I'm probably a bit old for this right now in terms of the content I'm ingesting online, but it's called brain rot, and it's just essentially stuff. And I showed you a video earlier. I think it's important that people hear about this page of...
You're saying brain rot?
Brain rot. And
I'm guessing it sounds... It looks what it sounds like?
Yeah, it just rots your brain. It's just no meaning, no knowledge comes out of it. It's purely just there to just take your brain away from whatever other things are going on in your life. And it's good in that regard, but it just...
rots your brain.
It rots your brain. And there's a podcast, and look, we've just started our podcast, and I'd like to think we're a bit better than these guys. I'll probably insert the clip just so people can hear the context of what I'm referring to. MD Foodie Boys, they're called.
They've got like 200,000 followers.
They've got and you weren't aware of this page. I sent it to you last night, and you replied with, "What did I just watch?" Which is... And
then today I asked for the 60 seconds of my life back.
Which is a fair response to the video I sent you, because it's horrific. And look, credit to them, because they've amassed, like you said, over 200,000 followers, which is no easy feat. We've just stumbled into 600 and nearly at 650. So they're doing something right. Although the video that I watched it's essentially 4 people. You've got, and this is not their names, by the way. This is just in the comment section, what people have called them, essentially. And when you see the video, I think it's pretty clear who's who.
Yes.
They've done very well. You've got McLovin. You've
Superbad reference.
Referencing Superbad, which is one of the all-time movies. So you got McLovin. You've got Chub Perm.
Mm-hmm. Self-explanatory.
You won't need to guess who he is too hard. Nonchalant and No Name. I'm going to plug this video in now and let everyone listen to it.
How do you guys feel about the new Drake album?
Drake's my favorite artist. I looked it up on TikTok to see like what songs were the best.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to one song. I think it was like, let me look. It was "Give Me a Hug."
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the best song. It was really good when I listened to it.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to listen to it, but I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't listen to it either, but it just I've heard of it.
People were talking about it at school today, but I haven't listened to it yet.
I've never watched a video and come out of it like knowing less.
Dumber than when you went in.
Yeah. It's crazy. They're referring to they're referring to Drake's new album. And me and you, when we do our pod, we kind of we like to have it set out in a way that we've got enough content to talk about on each topic, so that we've got like a little bit there. These guys, Chub Perm has come out with
the most rogue topic.
Just what do you reckon about Drake's new album? None of them had listened to it, so they're just freeballing on.
And the worst part was they could have cut it.
They could have got. They could have not posted it as a reel, so essentially a highlight from the podcast. That's the best part of their podcast that they posted.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't listen to the whole thing, but as you and I sort of do, we go through, we find a piece of the podcast that we enjoyed or we think's going to do well, and we post that. This is what they came up with, and the first bit is like the McLovin after Chub Perm asks about Drake's new album. McLovin responds with, "I've listened to one song and I think it's the best song on the album." So
yeah, that's his great one-liner.
No one else had listened to it.
Yeah.
So then
they tried to talk about it.
They tried.
That's the thing. Rather than skimming over the topic and going, I'd never seen it, keep going.
And they got thousands of views and probably millions even. They've got thousands of likes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
next episode, guys, we're going to be talking about elephants. We know nothing about them. We're just going to try and get through it.
It's just going to come up with a topic, hit you with it. We're not going to do this, by the way. But yeah, that was my algorithm this week, which was
so both shit.
Awful.
And this is why, Finley, I deleted all forms of social media for 4 to 5 years through my life when I was 20 until 25, and it was fucking sensational.
Yeah.
And then, do you know what the best part was? People go, how do you know what's going on in the world? I get through fine, thank you. I know what COVID is. I'm not finding that out 3 years later. It just reduces the shit that we are drip fed through social media.
Look, it does have a lot to answer for, social media, but it is good. I do get a lot of my news from there, and this week there's been a few, and thanks for, if you're still here, which I assume a few people aren't.
I hope they're not driving because they are asleep now.
Yeah, they're at risk. They might need to find a driver reviver stand. But we are going to get into some surfing news now, which is the first of which we'll start. Should we start with the negative one and then come out of that with some positives?
I'm thinking it's the young blonde-headed lad that has found himself in very fucking hot water.
Look, we debated at length whether or not to touch on this. It's a pretty sensitive topic, although it's a person that a lot of us coming through all the surf comps, we all knew of him.
I met him a bunch.
You sort of shaking hands with him. I've seen him around. I don't know him personally, but
he was mostly a friend of a friend for me.
Yeah. Look, Connor Lyons is his name, and we could have touched on this months ago. Like it's been sort of in the courts, and
it went quiet for a bit.
Yeah, it went quiet for a bit, but like he looked like he was going to be in pretty hot water straight away. The reason we're doing it now is because it's come out this week that he's pled guilty to 29 counts of or charges.
Yes,
ranging from sort of indecently exposing himself to kids, making child exploitation material and grooming and all that sort of stuff. It's like just the most awful stuff that you can imagine.
And this is a kid, like for anyone who doesn't know him, he was 48th on the men's QS. So he's not just like your random, everyone's got like a local fucking weirdo.
A weirdo, yeah.
He's not really that. He's very well known throughout the Australasian QS Pro Junior scene.
Yep.
So this is a bit of a shock to the surfing world. So I don't think anyone saw this one coming, especially his age.
Nah, and like you say, it's in hindsight, it's always good. Like you can always be like, oh, like he always seemed a bit weird, which maybe there's an argument he was, but like you would never ever expect this from him. He's like 26 years old, I believe. He's elected to represent himself in court, which
hasn't gone well.
No, I can imagine. I can't sort of comment on why he's doing that. Looks pretty imminent that he's gonna face some serious time behind bars.
Well, he's looking at a maximum of 20 years.
Yeah,
which is not far off a lifey.
Nah, it's pretty horrific stuff. So, we're trying to through this cover all realms of surfing news, and it's not often that something like this comes into our sort of realm. We're not going to go into the character of the man. Like what happens is going to get decided by a judge and a jury. So we'll leave that there. But yeah, just it went quiet for a bit there. It's come out this week. He's pled guilty to all counts, I believe. So
and I think the reason we didn't touch on this earlier is because everything was alleged.
It's all alleged, yeah.
And that's pretty shit to say this fucking happened and it turns out to be half true, because then you've really ruined someone's life.
For sure.
Unfortunately, in this case, he's actually been found guilty of more charges when he walked out 6 months later than what he was faced walking in.
For reference, it was 12 to begin with. It's now 29. So
they've gone through his personal devices and have probably found more, which is just disturbing. But yeah, a bit of a dark day for the Sunshine Coast area surfing society.
Yeah, and like to the kids as well, like hopefully they're getting all the help they need. Pretty horrible stuff to have to go through as a young child. Like he was working with kids like no older than 12, like there was kids far younger than that.
Yeah.
And
his response to that out of the courthouse was, I'm just going to create content for kids that are over 18. That's not the answer, bro.
No, I think initially he thought it was all going to be sort of lollipops and rainbows, and it was all going to be okay, coming out of the court to some news reporters and saying, oh yeah, like I'm not going to be producing material or coaching with people under 18 now. It's like, bro, you're going to jail.
That's not really
that's
the answer we're looking for.
You're not coaching anyone. So
we also spoke about his dress attire.
Yes.
Now,
his sponsors, not a great look. You did say no. There's no such thing as bad publicity. I think this maybe is the exception.
Does.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, even if you go down to the Lismore courthouse, some bogan getting charged for doing a single pegger up the main street of Kerr Street in Ballina.
Yeah.
He's still going to wear a fucking button up.
Yeah.
He is smart enough. He mightn't even have half a brain, but he'll go, oh, I'm going to court. I'm going to put a fucking button up on.
Yeah.
Connor didn't even get that
Connor
far.
wore his sponsored, like his brand Ion, just big Ion logo slapped across the front of his t-shirt. So
but not even a new one. It looks like it's been through about 50 cycles of wash, and
yeah,
it looks like he's just woken up and gone, oh, I've got to go to court today.
Yeah. So you can't imagine Ion was too stoked about that.
I reckon the judge watched him walk in and just went fucking guilty before he even sat down and opened his mouth. But anyway, that's enough of that one.
We'll move on from that. That was a dicey one. We'll go into now. Snapper Rocks is on its way. The first time it's been a CT event in a few years.
And unfortunately, the last time it was a CT event, it didn't run at Snapper.
It ran at D-Bar, the finals.
Sorry, carry on.
I was going to say, that was the year Italo beat Kalohe in the final, correct?
Correct, and I think that was a bit of a controversial one.
Potentially, I don't know. Kalohe did himself no favours throughout his career. I think he had a couple of finals. That might have been even a loss of priority from memory. I think he made a bad call with Pryor. But anyway, you're right. That was the last time it ran, and it didn't run at the intended venue of Snapper Rocks. This year is looking worrying, to say the least. I don't know if anyone's seen any of the photos that are coming out of Snapper right now. It looks like the Mariana Trench. It's just a big old pool, like a big old pond.
It looks like a beach break.
Yeah. Well, no, Snapper itself isn't breaking. It's not.
No, that's what I mean. You know what it looks like? It looks like water goes at Byron,
yeah.
where there's it looks like it should be the world class point break.
Yeah,
but it's not.
No. There's a left going back into Snapper.
Correct.
From Lil Marley section, so about halfway down where the rocks are.
Yeah.
There's an A-frame peak, and there's a left going back in. They've started pumping sand from the various sand pumps that they have up there, trying to fill it in. They've got a month, so anything's possible. Although that's a lot of sand to fill in. Like there's rocks. I think it was Corbin Hutchins said on Stab that there's rocks appearing that he's never seen before.
There's no beach, literally, and we are speaking literally.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is no beach.
There's nothing.
It's nothing. And everyone's saying, oh yeah, they're pumping sand, but they're actually, the majority of the pump is by a dredge at Surfers Paradise.
Right.
Because the Queensland government have come out, this is just a bit of chatter that you hear around from in the workplace.
Yeah.
Their priority is Easter holidays peak period for tourism. They are thinking about Snapper Rocks, but peak period tourism, Easter, Sunshine, Surfers Paradise is way bigger of an agenda than the Snapper Rocks event.
Yeah.
So that's why they've got one there.
Yeah.
To make those beaches look pristine. That's what they're known for. So they're trying to get those beaches organised. So those big sand spits that you see from the dredge, that's nowhere near Snapper, and that sand won't go to Snapper.
Yeah. And they also have the one around at the corner there at Froggies. Which does sort of, that's where you rely on a south swell to bring it around the corner.
Interestingly, you say that there is a pretty juicy one coming next week.
But it can also be a bank ruiner, so fingers crossed that all it does is transport sand. But yeah, I can imagine a few of the higher ups at WSL right now are a little bit nervous about that event. We do have to get through Bells first, so they'll get that out of the way with, and then I guess they'll start worrying about Snapper. A few alternative venues that they can run at. Now, D-Bar oftentimes is on the cards.
It's actually been ruled out.
It's been effectively ruled out, though, because... sorry, Queenslanders, D-Bar's in New South Wales. I don't know if you knew that, but we own that wave. So they're not going to... I think they will run it there if they have to, but it sounds like Stab sort of raised this as a possible venue. Burley Point, which made a few good points. They've got the ABB there this week, which is looking like it's going to be 0 to 1 foot, correct?
Suffering the same fate. There is sand there.
Yeah.
Although it's, that's very swell dependent, that one.
Yeah. So, yeah, that for those that don't know as well, the ABB is the Australian Board Riders Battle, and that's the grand final. So, Libar is a part of that. So, they're going to have like the full comp scaffold set up.
It's already set up.
Well, yeah, they're going to have it there. So, why not, like, if Snapper's looking like it's going to be off the cards, why not leave the setup there for an extra month and just roll with that? Like, that seems to me like a pretty good idea. I don't know what you reckon.
I wouldn't suggest leave it there.
No?
Because that's a logistical nightmare with permits and paying for a cost. Where,
or even if you store it, like, you know what I mean? Just keep the materials on.
Look, they're all companies that get paid to knock things up and pull them down within a moment's notice. So, but I think if I was a betting man, I'm going to say it's going to run at Burleigh.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Burleigh is an amazing wave. It sort of almost resembles, like, I find way more similarities between Burleigh and Lennox than I do of any of the other points around here.
Yep.
They're quite similar. Burleigh, like, can sort of resemble, like, your Snapper Rocks. It can resemble Kira at times, like some of the waves that come through there. If they jag a nice swell at Burleigh, could be sick.
And it's a natural amphitheatre. It's got the grassy hill for spectators to sit on. It's got nearby shops. Nearby shops, keepers are going to love it.
Yeah.
Parking's going to be fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
But it's horrendous at Snapper anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a really good location to hold the event.
For sure. Yeah. Look, I'd love to see it there. Not that we have any sway in this, but yeah.
Even Burleigh beaches, all the way to North Burleigh, have been really fun lately.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. So you've got the point break, which ideally I guess will be where the setup is. But then if it's small or maybe a bit onshore or something, they can just take it down to the beachy. And
I don't think they could though, because the event structure would be so large that I don't think they're just going to put a few tents on the beach down at the other end.
Well, no, they don't have to go far. They can just go, you know what I mean? Like just down the bottom of the point. Like they could just run it down the bottom there, depending on banks. This is all just speculation at this point too. We're just absolutely dribbling. Paul Fisher development, you know, a bit more.
Not far away.
Yes. What do you know about this? Now, Paul Fisher, just most people know this, but an old school QS battler, used to ride for Reef back in the day, was pretty talented coming through.
Surf really good.
Yeah. Don't know what his like chances were like. Like I can imagine he'd be a pretty big advocate of having a night out after an event win or loss, or
which has turned out to be a positive result for him, because that builds charisma and character, and that's exactly what he's built his career off.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's actually building I think it's 6 stories development in Palm Beach, just on the other side of Burleigh. Allegedly $50 million project. So pretty crazy that a washed up surfer becomes DJ, becomes one of the biggest DJs, and is now in development. He's a DJ full time, and he's also got his own company, Fizz, Hard Fizz, whatever it's called, which makes $10 million last year.
True.
So he's fucking a poster child for you don't have to go to school and get a fucking degree to become, we'll call it, financially successful.
Has anyone leveraged being a unit more than Paul Fisher? Ever?
Yeah, probably not.
I think it's like, in terms of like...
Maybe Jackass?
Yeah, but like, I don't know, like, they wouldn't be as successful as Paul Fisher.
I actually just thought of that. He's like Johnny Knoxville as big as Paul Fisher. I would say he is.
I'm sure a quick Google, so let's see, Johnny Knoxville net worth. But yeah, look, it's pretty crazy, his humble sort of beginnings on the QS series, and he's now an international DJ doing stints over in Ibiza each year, and like it's ridiculous.
It is pretty funny. But yeah, if anyone who doesn't know and is looking for a good laugh, go on to Follow the Fish TV on YouTube. I think it's clips from about 2009, maybe 2011. And he was a serial pest at these CT events, going around and asking them the most obscene questions. The best one that I loved was Snapper Rocks, Quickie Pro. Kelly's out behind the rock, and obviously you're actually able to walk out very close to the lineup there on the rocks.
Right.
And he has a megaphone, and he's yelling, "Kelly, go left."
Yes.
Like just over and over again. And Kelly, he obviously knew who Fisher was back then, but he looks visibly angry because he's probably like, there's a time and a place, I'm in the heat, I'm doing my job, and there's this guy fucking yelling at me on the rocks.
Yeah. Scrolling through now, Johnny Knoxville's net worth 50 million, if anyone was wondering. Paul's, the most I've seen is 12.5 million. It's definitely not as much money as Johnny Knoxville, but like I dare say, like some of the antics Fisher's gotten up to. Johnny Knoxville is he's a personality that sort of came through just getting absolutely folded over various different things, bull riding and sending himself
just doing dumb shit
into orbit on rockets and all that sort of stuff. Fisher's is more just like, I'm just like excited to be here. I'm having a good time. I'm surfing, and he's just made that into a very, very successful career for himself. And he's going to be able to basically set his family up for generations to come. So good on him for that. Now, Zach, you had we've got Zach's Facts, which is just one of the segments that just really gets people going. But that we'll leave that. We've got the Surfer of the Week first. So
yes.
Who have you gone with for this week?
My Surfer of the Week is Solomon Bailey. He is arguably the only surfer on the planet to be allowed to walk into a pub and say, I have surfed the best waves on the planet. Prove me wrong.
Is he the most barreled human being on the world?
I would say frequency-wise, maybe not, but the waves he has surfed, I would say the best barrels, not like the amount of barrels that he gets.
Yeah.
Because he lives here in Byron Bay, which is not really a barrel haven.
No.
And what we're referring to here, guys, is the Maps to Nowhere, what would you call, collection of videos that are on YouTube. It's fucking insane.
It's incredible.
And he is their poster child for that series. And so he is fortunate enough to go to these unique locations that break very rarely or are hard to find or a logistical nightmare where most people don't go, and pays off. I'm sure there's others that don't pay off, but they have found this wave that looks to me like a mirror of Skeleton Bay.
Yeah.
Well, not a mirror because that'd be a right, but it's pretty much the little sister of Skeleton Bay and no one around. And yeah, he is getting barrels from top to bottom, 4 barrels on one wave, 5 barrels on one wave. Yeah, Surfer of the Week.
Skits, yeah. Look, that, and just a quick note on that, because those sort of, I'm assuming it's in Africa. Do we know?
Yeah, it's in Africa.
It's in Africa.
It's on the west coast of Africa.
Yeah, so like all those sort of like sand bottom points they have along there, they're basically all formed from prevailing winds blowing out of the desert and blowing sand towards the ocean, which creates sandbanks. Now, these waves don't last forever. And it's like sort of getting to the point now where Skeleton Bay on any given day is, when it's cooking, there's like hundreds of people there. Or maybe not hundreds, that might be a bit of an exaggeration.
Nowadays, it is probably almost crowded.
There's a lot of people there when there's swells heading there. To the point where like even Lennox lad Jai Glindemann last year or the year before maybe, he did a mission there, which is like, for the most part, you probably wouldn't really expect someone to do that from around here. You know, it's such a big trip, but took himself over there and got some waves. But back to the point here, like, because it is so reliant on sand being blown there and they get these swells that run down the bank, it's not like it's a reef break and it's there forever. It's really dependent on that. So the quality of Skeleton Bay is not what it once was. And you could have like up that West African coast, like there could be just spot after spot after spot of these waves that just maybe given a small amount of time, like they get the right sand in there, they suddenly become the next Skeleton Bay. And it's just finding that. And it seems like O'Neill on this trip has kind of almost done that. They found this wave that, and like conditions really favoured them on one of the days. They nearly had another day which looked bigger, and it was pretty like it was trying its best. Just too windy, but then they got the clean day. Like that wasn't even necessarily that big, to be honest. Like it was probably maybe 4 foot plus on the sets. Like some of the sets maybe a touch bigger.
Yes, although it's 4 foot wide.
It was
and 4 foot thick.
Yeah, for sure. Very you could effectively on the right swell that wave looks like it can handle much bigger. So
you say that though, they mentioned in the piece that there hasn't been a swell similar in 11 years.
Right.
So it's almost like they could drop a pin and be like, here it is, guys. Have fucking fun getting it.
Yes.
Because like you said, probably the most dynamic coastline on the planet due to this desert and the sand movement.
Yep.
It's had 3 swells in 11 years.
Yep.
I don't know about the average punter, but I'm going to Indo over that.
Yeah. Well, in terms of success rate, you're much better off. But for those who haven't seen it, it's a series by O'Neill, Maps to Nowhere. They've done 2 or they might have done a few.
They're about 5 or 6,
They've
I'd
done
say.
2 very notable ones, though. They've done this one and also the one where Katie Simmers got that incredible right-hander as well.
Also in Africa.
Was that... Oh, that's in Africa too?
South America.
Yeah.
Africa?
Don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's a really cool series that O'Neill's doing, and lucky Solly Bailey that he signed that contract and he gets to go and travel the world with him.
Who is yours?
Mine, as I tend to do, I'm more of a comp guy. I've gone from which I say recent event, it's still going. They're just taking their sweet old time to run heats.
Fucking dragging on, isn't it?
It's annoying, and we will get into that. I've gone with George Pittar. Now, day 1 or on the opening round, I don't know which day of the event it was, but when they eventually got started, George Pittar went out and he had, I'm pretty certain, he had Italo Ferreira and he had the local wildcard Brian Perez. Brian's no slouch there at all. He's actually come in as a bit of a world beater there in the past and beaten guys like Italo, dropping some really big scores. Very good surfer and super underground. He had those 2 though. Everyone knows the tear that Italo's been on. He outsurfed both of them quite easily, and he didn't get the win by virtue of Italo just paddling deeper and doing a full rotation, which he does on lock. But they were giving... George got 14-point heat total, which I'd probably imagine this year on tour anyway. I know he got some big ones at WA when he was the wild card there, but for him this year, that's a really good heat total, and he just looked amazing, really good style, and we know he has good style, but he just seems to suit this wave really well, perfectly matching the pace. Frontside carve is just beautiful, essentially. And if it wasn't for a late charge from Italo, he got an 8 doing a big 4-0 and then just got another insider and did the same, and they kind of made their bed. They had to give it a similar score, but in my eyes, and I think many others, George Pittar won that heat. And yeah, just his surfing's looking amazing. I'm really excited to see him throughout the rest of this event. I think he can do some serious damage. Just quickly checking who he's got next, because he's got Jack Robinson, and it's
a great match.
It's a great matchup. It's a great heat, and I think if I'm putting money on someone, it's George for sure. Jack has a way of just turning things, so he's the underdog, and he's not in this heat, obviously. But in that heat, I'm looking at it, George, I think his base game, so his turns and what he can do really easily, far better than Jack's, and I think I think he could win that heat. Jack obviously has the alley-oop and the straighties and stuff that he can go to, which George doesn't so much. But yeah, I think George is my pick in that. So he's my surfer of the week this week. Now, Zach's facts. What do you got?
I was going to say let's end on Zach's facts, because I feel like some people are going to try my fact and they're going to want to try it for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So should we go through the Challenger Series squad of 2025 for Australia?
Yeah, look, you want to push Zach's facts down again? You want to relegate Zach's facts down?
Yeah, I think it's a good one to end on.
Okay, cool. Cool, let's do it. So we'll go straight into the rankings. Men and women for the QS. So these guys that are qualified for the Challenger Series. We're going to just do Australian and American because they are our 2 biggest audience by quite some margin.
Yep.
And if you want to complain about it, Europe,
Start
Africa,
listening.
listen more. That's what I have to say to you.
Yes.
Tell your friends. We'll go through We'll go through the ladies first. So not so many qualifiers on the ladies. I think there's only 4. So on Australia, we've got Sierra Kerr, we've got Charlie Stokes, we've got Oceana Rogers, and Willow Hardy, who I believe is from WA. Really good server. Really, really excited to see what Sierra Kerr is going to do on the Challenger. I think she'll just breeze through pretty easily. What do you reckon?
I think that's a really impressive female Challenger Series crew. I think they're going to do very well. Sierra, I think, is going to do really well. I just had this feeling that maybe not as well as what we think.
Yeah.
Just seen it so much lately where you've just got someone like Sammy Pupo.
Yeah.
Just on paper, you would throw the house on it, but just not performing. And that's just kind of where I'm going with that one. But I'm happy with, that they're all 4 really good surfers.
Yeah. And you made the point last week of, we sort of came up with that analogy that Molly Picklum and a few of the other girls there, what was that sport again? Curling. They are the people with the brooms or whatever they are, and they're just leading the way for the little ball to end up in the circle. Sierra Kerr is one of these girls that I just think they're just clearing the way for, and as soon as she gets up there, I just think she's going to kill it. So
interestingly, no Volcom sticker on the nose anymore.
Didn't notice that, really.
Yeah, so
okay.
she is flying solo, but been picked up by Nike and Red Bull. So,
cha-ching.
Fuck, it's kind of like the dream combo.
Yeah, cha-ching.
So I don't think she's too worried, but yeah, again, that's a pretty big loss for Volcom, and I'm sure she's probably upset by that as well.
Yeah, and then the US ladies, so Kira Pinkerton, Reed Van Wagener, which some of the great names here actually. Reed Van Wagener, Sanoa Dempfley Olin.
You did well with that.
Leilani McGonigal, who you may remember from a previous episode, Zach.
I had a crush on her.
Pursuing. And Eden Waller, who I'd never heard of. I went and Googled her. Well, not Googled her. I still looked her up on Instagram and she is incredible. Very, very good surfer.
I like it.
Yeah. So, and she looks to be very young. I don't know how old she is, but she looks tiny. So maybe one that might settle into the, sort of grow into her body still and get a bit more powerful. But look, she looks like her and her younger brother. She's got a younger brother called Zion. Probably going to both be future world champions. They're just both incredible.
Yeah, there is that clip most people have probably seen of the young lad going left in a big swell.
I'll chuck it in here.
Getting very fucking tubed for a very small human.
Yeah, ridiculous. So there's that. Rip Curl have got both of them locked in. So Zach will be looking to smooth in at some point and just build his empire. We'll go to the men though. Caius King, Xavier Huxtable, Oscar Berry, Winter Vincent, Jarvis Earl. A name you may have heard of before. One Joshua Kerr has requalified riding a 20. So good to see him back. I don't know how seriously he's going to take it.
I think very.
You think so?
Yep.
Do you think he's going to get a quiver of thrusters before the season?
It's going to be awkward if he qualifies for the World Tour without his daughter Sierra, because I know that's what the dream is there.
Yeah, get them both on.
He wants the LeBron effect of surfing.
LeBron and Bronny. Yeah. So good on him for getting back in the mix.
Billy Stammond is in there as well.
Yeah, the New Zealand, the Kiwi natural footer. Very, very impressive backhand on him growing up at Raglan. And Tully Wiley, who, interesting to note, had to final in the last event. Had to make the final to qualify. Got it done. So
did it.
Well done to him. And then the men's from the US, Luca Macinas, Jet Schilling, Carlos Munoz is back in a big way. He's making his late charge. A guy I'm really excited to see, and I hope he cracks the tour. Taro Watanabe, incredible surfer.
I agree to that. That's a good call.
Yeah. Lucas Cassidy, who I'm not super familiar with, Dimitri Poulos, Ryan Huckabee, and Owen Moss. So
That's a new squad.
It is.
They're obviously Carlos and Jet.
yeah.
But the others, I feel like a lot of people are going to be going out there and Googling and Instagramming.
Interesting as well, the person who won the rankings, Luca Messina's Peruvian.
Yes.
Why is he in the North American rankings?
No idea.
Okay.
Don't know what's going to happen there, or if you'd have to think he qualifies, but
Yeah.
technically you can't, right?
I think you have to nominate a region that you surf for, and then you can go and surf for other regions, but you don't necessarily accrue points.
But he's
Whether or
accrued
not,
points.
well, maybe this is his region. I don't know. I don't know how he's done it, or maybe he's already qualified for the South American one, and he's now. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but he's there, so he's coming back. Not someone that I'm overly excited to see get it back on tour, but hey, if he can do it, good on him.
Who, Luca Messinas?
Yeah,
He was on tour?
he was on tour.
Oh, wow. He must have been riveting to watch.
Yeah, well, there's probably a reason you missed that one.
Unfortunately, I have the same opinion on Carlos. He just doesn't do it.
But Carlos has the Groggia effect for me, the Edgar Groggia effect. Now, he's a guy that you just, he's kind of infectious. His personality,
100%.
Full battler, come from like central, like Nicaragua or something. Costa Rica. Really just refuses to quit. And he's back on the Challenger. I'm not saying he's going to qualify. I don't think he will, but good on him for getting back there.
I love that. I just feel like he puts out video parts and then you expect that in a heat and he just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Like majority of them.
Yeah. And then that's basically the wrap up of the QS rankings. So well done to all those guys. Then we'll just quickly touch on El Salvador, which we're not going to really go into heaps of detail.
Well, there's not really much to talk about
No.
because they've been there for about 10 days and they've done Jack Diddley squat.
Yeah. They've done more of the women's draw. I think they're into maybe the quarters or the round of they're into the quarters. So the quarterfinals are set for the women's, which means when they sort of resume competition, looks like they'll just try and hammer a few of the men's heats out, which would be interesting to watch. They've done elimination round for the men's, so that's all done. They're into the round of 32. So only lost 4 surfers at this stage.
So they haven't fucking started.
Barely started. They ran the other night. They ran 2 heats.
I don't think that's fair.
Imagine if losing.
I don't. This one's been a bit of a weird one where they've been running just 2 or 3 heats and going, yeah, we don't like it. It's like, well, that's kind of tough titty for the 3 heats that just ran.
Yeah.
I would not be happy with it.
No, there'd be some people spewing over that.
I don't think you can change anything once a round has started, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the day running out of daylight.
Yeah.
If you just know that you've got a shit forecast coming and you just need to wrap it. But you can't go, hey, we're going to start. Oh, we don't like it. We're going to pull it off. Because then you're just getting 2 different environments for people fighting up for the same result, which is just, it's not equal opportunity.
For sure. Yeah, I'm with you there.
If it's shit, everyone jumps in the shit.
Yeah. Now, my fantasy team took a bit of a hit here. Caroline Marks with the ×2 on her, and she's fallen out short. Yeah, that one didn't go well for me.
I fucked up also.
What did you do?
I've done the best fuck up.
What have you done?
I swapped out Brisa for Kira Pickerton. I fucked it.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm so fucking disappointed.
Oh, well. These things happen, Zach. On the men's...
I swapped it late, random one night. Just a random thought in bed, just going, I think Brisa's going to get knocked out and Kira is going to do all right. And she fucking ruined it for me.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I still got a couple alive, which is good.
I've got 2 left, but no sort of ×2, which is worrying. But
yeah, boy, I got one ×2.
The world's my oyster on the men's because full team sitting there.
Everyone theoretically should have a full team.
If it's not as well, it should be because you can still edit your team. Zach didn't know this originally, so you can jump in there and change anyone that's knocked out. I was thinking about this though as well. So you've got your round of 32, and I'm giving away all the secrets here. You effectively, once you get into the round of 32, it just follows the draw. You don't have any reseeding going on. So if you wanted to and you were a thinking man, which I'm sure everyone out there is.
I'm already not doing this and I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, you could effectively pick half of your surfers from providing that they're in the right draw, like in the right seeding. But the way to try and maximize success here is to pick 4 of your surfers from one side of the draw and 4 from the other, because then you don't have any people knocking like you could effectively pick all 8 quarterfinalists that way and have everyone scoring points.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, but it defeats the purpose of the whole operation, which is who you think.
Sure. But if you wanted to, and we're not going to do that because we're here to give our opinion on who we think is going to do well, and we're going to back that in with our teams. But for your Andy Irvines of the world out there and the people that are up top, someone to think about, because it's all good and well to pick.
Yeah, but then you got to end up fucking putting your ×2 on like Edgar Grogier.
No, you can still put your ×2 on who you want. It's just like you can pick from both sides of the draw.
Yeah, but that means there's people you can't pick.
But yeah, like your favourite, say like Philippe, you're going to pick him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So you're just.
But what if he's up against your next favourite?
Well, then you're gonna have to pick. You're gonna have to pick one because you're maximising success that way. If you pick the winner of that heat, you've got a spot there that you've allocated to someone else that can still progress into the draw. So say you've got Philippe versus Ethan, which wouldn't happen this early, or it shouldn't, and you want to pick one or the other. You pick your person you think's gonna win that heat, without picking the other one. So then you can pick another person because.
But then you just ended up picking people you don't really truly believe in.
Zach, it makes sense.
It makes no. I understand.
You're arguing with
theoretically.
Maths.
I get it.
You're arguing with maths and logic here, and it's.
But I'm arguing the point. But that's all right. We're just going in circles. Should we round this thing off with Zach's facts? If anyone's still listening.
Yeah. Well, quickly though, do you just want to touch on that? So, basically, the men's draw, the forecast. Looking very promising. So we've got...
Yeah, but it has the whole fucking time.
Nah, this is looking... It's the biggest swell they've had there this year, I think, or in the last however long. They're really excited about it. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're going to release this Thursday morning. So that'll be out. I don't think they'll run tonight, although they could if they want to get some heats out. But looking like it's going to be A+++++++. It's looking very good. So...
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, strap in for that. And... in terms of like people that are still on the draw, do you want to not your fantasy team so much, but you're still happy with who you've picked? Like no one's really sort of caught your eye and sort of forced you to sort of change your opinion, or
no? I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm locked away.
I'm pretty much the same. The only person, and I'm not going to change my team because I've committed to it now. But my pick before George Pittar, my surfer of the week, really wish I had him in there somewhere because he's looking primed and ready to go. But yeah, we'll touch on this more once the event finishes. I'll be poolside in Vanuatu, so we'll be tuning in from there.
I'll be at Bells Beach.
You'll be at Bells, so that's going to be interesting how we figure that one out. We'll have a discussion on that.
We'll have some poor bandwidth.
Yeah, let's get into the much-awaited Zach's facts, and this better be good.
I think this is probably the best thing we've spoken about this whole episode.
Right.
You cannot hum while holding your nose.
Do it.
So for anyone who does not quite understand what I'm talking about, this is a hum. Do that again, holding my nose. Can't do it. Can't do it, my friend. So theoretically, the noise of humming comes out your nose.
There you go, everyone. And for those sat in your car listening to this, take your hand off your nose right now.
Yeah, there's going to be people looking at you at traffic lights right now going, what the fuck is that guy doing? Picking a big loogie.
I feel like the 3 people still listening after a couple rants to begin with tried that, and they fear the same thing. I'm going to throw one in there, which I'm a bit of a science nerd, geek kind of guy.
Bill Nye.
I love a bit of sort of developments in science and all that sort of stuff.
Hit me.
And this week, and I'm not sure if you saw this, Zach, but they actually brought some animals back from extinction, dire wolves, which is it's almost like a translucent white third wolf. Not sure necessarily how big it is. But they, an American sort of biotech company, Colossal Biosciences it's called, I think, they have been able to use gene editing, so they can extract a gene sequence from a fossil, not a fossil, but if they recover a tooth or a bone of some description from that animal, they can actually go through, chuck it into their computer programs, whatever they've got, and pull out the gene sequence. And then what they can do then is that generally over time, thousands of years, you get some kind of decay in that sequence, so you don't have all of the parts there. So you can't just go, oh, here's a tooth, I'm going to replicate this animal because there's bits missing. But what they can do then is they find the closest living relative to that animal, and then they splice bits of that animal's genome into the gene sequence to finish it off. And they've done that with some wolves, which I reckon is pretty sick. Not saying that there's going to be...
Sick as in great, or sick as in like that sickening?
No, I think it's like awesome. I think you could definitely go too far with this. Like
Biohacking.
you could go full like Jurassic Park on it, which I don't think we'd need to do. Nor I think like those things were stomping around millions of years ago, not so much thousands of years ago. So I don't know how you'd go about bringing back a dinosaur.
Hey, we still got the crocodiles.
Yeah, true. But like for things that have recently gone extinct, and especially those that extinct via like human methods, like hunting or things that we've done to make them extinct, I think there's a really good argument there to allow this to happen. And there's even talk, and I think it's going to happen, woolly mammoths are making a comeback.
Fuck me dead.
Yeah, so they...
Until we just shoot them and skin them again and again and again.
Well,
and again.
I think ideally you're not going to bring them back just to hunt them again. So I'd hope they'd be...
There'll be someone out there thinking of it.
I hope they'd be under some kind of protection. But
now, are these fucking mammoths like 3D printed, or are you're just getting a real life fucking... What elephant?
No,
what's the closest living relative to a mammoth?
Yeah, like one of the species of elephants, like maybe an Indian elephant or something like that. I don't know which one it is off the top of my head, but they get like because they oftentimes find these things in like swamps or like peat bogs.
Yeah,
they recover the bodies, and because they're preserved, they're in low oxygen environments. So because of that, they're fully, or oftentimes they're really well preserved. So they can extract hair, they can extract even not so much flesh, but like the bones are still there, so they can get DNA from these animals. And again, over time, it does sort of gets degraded, I guess. Like it's not what it once was, but all they do is they just find something that's really closely related to it, and they just insert that, and poof, there you go.
It reminds me of that TV show Spliced.
There you go. That's probably what it came from. But look, there's my Zach's fact for the week.
I love it.
I just thought that was pretty cool. Like, be pretty sick to see some woolly mammoths stomping around, and like eventually in the future when you're a dad and you can go and take your kids to see some woolly mammoths. Like
in India, there'll just be a hairy elephant.
I tell you where they're not going to be is in India. They'll put them in Siberia or somewhere like that so they can actually survive because they got hair all over them. So, but yeah, I think it's pretty unreal. But yeah, look. Pretty dribbly episode today.
I was about to say we're over an hour in now, and our audience is now knowing that there's going to be hairy elephants.
And we didn't even get to the pyramids, which we were going to.
Oh, don't start me on the fucking pyramids, mate.
And we won't get into it now, but if people want to hear about Zach's take on the pyramids, we'll do it in a future episode. But yeah. Yep. We might cut that one short there because we've absolutely waffled on. It was clearly a slow news week this week.
Very slow. But we're still here.
We're really relying on this event to finish, which will hopefully happen some point this week, and we'll be back to regular scheduled content. But I don't know. Let us know what you reckon. Like if you want to hear a bit more dribble from us on the happenings of the world, let us know in the comments or in the DMs, and also let us know if you don't, because that will be helpful too. Because
we need to stop.
We'll stop immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks again for tuning in, guys. We didn't do it off the top, but really helps us if you can sort of like the YouTube videos, all our social content, subscribe and follow us on all the different platforms, and hit follow on whatever app you use to listen to your podcast. That really, really helps us out. But yeah, we'll leave that one there, Zach. I'll be reporting to you from poolside from Vanuatu next week, so you'll see us then. But yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks everyone. Sayonara.
See you soon.